Would you want to hear how we sold 3 million euros of online courses in 2025? That's around $3.5 million US. Hello, my name is Joel Hakala. I'm an online course entrepreneur from Finland. Let's check some numbers. First, what do we actually sell? So our brand is movementworld.com. We are opening new websites in different languages, and we sell movement mobility courses, what we call the body maintenance, helping people treat neck pain, back pain, different kind of musculoskeletal issues. We are focusing currently only on cheap $27 online courses and selling those through ads, and then when people come to the email list, they buy the second or third course. But let's check the numbers. Okay, so like I said, 3 million euros of sales, which is around $3.5 million US, and that's just sales. So after we take taxes out of that, like value-added taxes, we had around 2.5 million euros of actual revenue. And then the biggest expense we have is the paid advertising, because we are scaling to new websites. We are quite aggressive with the advertising. In 2025, it was over 1.5 million euros. So if you are at first year and like, oh, hey, you made 3 million euros of sales, you must be millionaire. Not quite, you will see after we deduce some expenses. Then there's payment processing fees. 2, 3, 4% depending on the payment processor. We have multiple payment processors in Finland, Stripe, PayPal in English, and when we expand to new countries, we add new payment processors. And that adds up to 114,000 euros. You wouldn't think that that little 2-3% from every sale would actually add up to much, but like once you are selling for 3 million euros, it's actually quite a lot. Then people, 400,000 euros. Here I counted our employees, freelancers, royalties, basically thinking like all the expenses that come because we are working with some people who invoice from us or we pay them salary. Then different kind of other expenses like software, different kind of services, one-time expenses. Altogether is 180,000 euros. And then when we add everything together, we're left with around 286,000 euros of profit before taxes. When you see and hear that like, yeah, someone made 3 million euros sale per year, or you hear someone making 10 million or 100 million sales or revenue, people always start to think like that person must be a millionaire, but that's not true. Once you take all the expenses out, there's much less of the actual profit margin left after everything. And how about the mistakes, the top 3 mistakes we did that if I could, I would love to go and fix. Number 1 is that when we started our international expansion and testing how we can take our courses, localize them to other languages, we should have started earlier. This is actually a mistake that is already like a 2-year mistake. The idea was already ready like 2 years earlier, but we had other things we were focused on. We didn't realize like how big impact it would have for us to do that testing, going to the new market, testing that out quickly. The mistake was that we didn't prioritize testing the new language market early enough. And if I could go back, I would love to have started that 1 year ago in January 2025 latest. Mistake number 2. We were doing quite well in our business. We had the basic things going on. We had traffic coming, we getting sales, and then we lost our focus. So we started to doing little bit, all kind of little tests and things. We started to try out the AI chatbot. We tried different sales page designs. We were thinking about organic social media content, trying things out with that. But those weren't those things that were actually moving the needle for our business. We split our focus to really many smaller things that weren't meaningful for the business. When you lose the focus, you start to be doing too many things, especially at once, and the things that don't really matter for the business are not the big core pieces. Things start to go downhill little by little because you need to all the time move forward and improve because there's competition. We started to be stagnant without us noticing because we weren't focusing enough on the core pieces like making the better ad videos, making sure that we have good product offers, making sure that our email marketing is good, making sure that our most important pieces like paid advertising really works. For example, in paid advertising, 87% of the ad budget goes to Meta, Facebook and Instagram, and only 13% to Google Ads. So focusing on Meta and making sure that the Meta, our like cornerstone, works is super important. Other thing is that our number one best-selling product brought 55% of our sales. One product, 55% of the sales. So it's a 20-80 rule. The little amount of things you do bring most of the results. So we lost focus from that, and we weren't focusing on like, hey, how do we make these core products work better, or how do we develop this year that one new best-selling product that might become our bestseller ever, or at least go to the top 3 products. Mistake number 3. This is like other side of the coin for the mistake number 2. We weren't laser focused on the most important parts that brings the results in the business, and inside those things we weren't enough focused on the key thing. Practical example, short form ad video for Meta and Instagram. The first 3 seconds is where the magic is, because if the first 3 seconds the hook doesn't get the attention of the right person, doesn't get them interested to watch the video, it doesn't matter what is in the rest of the video. So when we were making video, example ad videos, yeah, we might have made kind of better videos than earlier. Better filming, better editing, but we weren't focusing on the most important part, the hook, enough. Second thing, when it comes to the products we sell and the sales pages where people make the purchase decision, the number one most important thing is the core offer, what you are offering in the first place. And what's the big idea? How do you explain it to people? If we would have focused more on that, it would have been hugely beneficial. And then of course, the email marketing is huge for us, even though it brings us from our sales like less than 15% of our sales comes from email. But because there's no ad budget, it's pure profit from the email marketing, it's actually hugely important for the profit we have their expenses. Most of our sales come from paid advertising, most of our profit comes through the email list. So that was, for example, a key thing that if we would have focused more on like, hey, this one thing, better email advertising this year, it would have moved the needle for us. No need to do anything new, just do this area better. If I could restart the year 2025, what would I do? I would start testing those new language markets immediately, and I would move really quickly to get really quickly the first feedback, but I would focus only on one market to keep things really simple, just to get that learning experience of how do we need to do it, what problems we encounter. I would have made it really clear for the whole team that here are the few things we are gonna focus. We are gonna make damn good ad videos. We are gonna make at least one new really good offer, aka product. We would have focused on the sales videos and sales pages, doing those really well. The checkout, the conversion, to have as good conversion percentage from the checkout, and then the email marketing, doing these things really well. Everything we do needs to be somehow connected to those. If I could restart 2025, we would do just that. I believe we would have had a way more successful year. I'm not sure would we have, with those things alone, made a lot more revenue. Maybe we would have made €3.5 million revenue, maybe 4 million. But I'm sure that we would have made a lot more profit. But yeah, it's hindsight, but the point is to notice where you messed up and then fix those things. If you guess what we are doing now in 2026, we're basically doing those things that I would hope that we could go back in time and do starting by 2025. But now my question for you is that if you could go back to January 2025, what is the one thing you would do differently? And then why don't do it right now in early year 2026?